Again, we're finance. So our current state, and kind of touching on the past. Last week when you guys worked with the different years, the goal was kind of to see where we've been in the past and looking toward where we're at now, and just kind of took a lot out of you previous to that, so we didn't get as far as we wanted. So coming into the semester, we were handed a folder, a big red folder that said red folder with confusion on it. It was kind of some bills and some documents that were left unattended and untaken care of from last semester. So we had that to kind of go through and get caught up on top of just learning how the financial system's done at the 450 farm. So we have a student account, which you guys are familiar with. We also have our kind of standard checking account, and then there's also the departmental account. So we're kind of trying to make sure everything gets put into the right account, funds come out of those proper accounts, and there's coding for each item in each bill that's spent or turned in. So that's kind of what we've been doing these past weeks, just getting comfortable with all that. Currently, we've got about $129,000 in our checking account. We have an operating note that's sitting right at around $154,000, so that needs to get paid for. So we're kind of right now trying to see how we're going to pay that note off, how much we need to borrow for the next year to make sure we have enough not only for this semester, but the next 2 semesters to operate throughout the year. And then we hadn't come up with a final balance on our student account, but we're somewhere around that $10,000 mark, and you're all aware that we need to get that spent this semester.
Finance Committee strengths. As we've mentioned before, we have the ability to borrow for the university. So that's at a pretty low interest rate compared to borrowing through like a local bank or something. 5 guys in our group, that's probably the most that any class ever really had for finance. So we get to spread out all the duties that we have every week, which that entails keeping bills up to date and keeping the cash flow up to date. Starting with the cash flow is positive, which is nice. Past groups did a good job of marketing grain, so it kind of gave us some cushion as to making the transition from semester and trying to figure out the system of finance. And weekly business meetings allows us to stay on top of bills, and so we don't get charged late fees and stuff like that.
Alright, our weaknesses are, it's been taking a lot of time to get caught up on the bills and get familiarized with the system and whatnot. Every chance that we get, we're working on that stuff. Other than we've been working on our state of the farm and our experiential, so we haven't had a lot of time to do that. We oversold on corn, so obvious reasons we're spending money there where we don't need to be. Lack of accountability. Past groups we found out have just pretty much came in and not really cared at all, and so it's, as she said with the red folder confusion, it's just backed up on us, so we need to make sure we take the initiative to not throw a bunch of stuff towards future groups. And then we found a lot of errors on the numerous documents. I know some of you guys complained on the worksheets we gave you that a bunch of numbers were wrong. Well, we don't really have time to get caught up on that, so.
I kind of know that was part of it too. On those errors, were to see why it's important to keep things accurately, and we were hoping you guys would find those to see what we're dealing with.
Some of our different short-term goals. The major one is for all the committee members, similar to myself, with the different steps of processing the bills, coding them, reconciling where they come and where they're going to make sure, like, each week we get a letter of paper from Pam saying see if our bills match what she had, so we may make sure that's up to date. As a committee, we need to get all of the other committees' cash flows up to date for 2011 and project the rest of the 2011 in 2011's cash flow and the net worth. We need to make the net worth here pretty next couple weeks and keep a positive balance at all times on our cash flow statement. Use the numbers we have to determine how much of our operating note, which is $153,485, determine how much the fund needs to borrow to the remainder year, how much we want to pay back. We're supposed to be paying that back here, well, it's supposed to be paid soon. And we need to utilize the student account funds, like Megan said, because using early in the semester, let's talk about not keeping them given to us. Be punctual due dates and updating the cash flow. Because some of that stuff we read for the confusion was bills that got lost. They were $20,000 bills that just never got paid. Maybe that's a little much, but you get the point. Big bill. Organize the tub for each of that's been saying because it's like 3/4 like fall and that's just a lot of junk that we need to keep, but if we got filing cabinets, we can put stuff in too.
I think with that tub, so like I said, we have folders for all of these things. We need folders for the bills that are going out, things that come back, for all the different accounts for every month. And we've got them in a filing cabinet as well. We have a tub that's kind of got some miscellaneous stuff, and I think that's where a lot of things get overlooked.
Some of our long-term goals are secure enough money for the farm to be able to operate on for the next 2 semesters. And also have records up to date and easy to follow and understand for the future semesters. And just because last semester they kind of left us with a bunch of unpaid bills, so just kind of keep the bills up to date and easy for next semester. And also decrease the farm debt to asset ratio. And some more, we need to work with Pam to develop a more centralized system. Pam works at, she's like the secretary here. She works at hers, so we need to work with her more. And also we need to, the years before, the net worth statements were all different formats, and they were really confusing to read because everything was different. We need to kind of have more of a standard net worth statement year to year and keep it the same.
Yeah, one, you mentioned how overselling the corn was costing us. I guess my understanding was the insurance was kind of helping with that. Do you know any more about it?
I don't know what's going on with that, but just as a whole, it shouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
We'll cover all of that.
Our operating note, is that like a line of credit? Do we need to pay that back, or?
Yeah, that's due.
So
It's pretty university. They're pretty flexible. Because
well, that's what I mean. But if it's an operating loan,
Then we'll get.
you shouldn't have. I mean,
we're gonna
operating
reborrow.
loan.
We're gonna basically transfer funds. We're gonna reborrow. Pay
so
off
you have
what
to
we-
pay it off and reborrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get through the next year.
So you can't just pay some back as you get it and just keep knocking.
Standing line of credit.
Yeah, like it's a line of credit, or is it?
No, it needs to be
So
paid off.
can we get a line of credit, or I mean, how that way we don't borrow and we overborrow, we're paying more. If we could just get a line of credit, we could have the money when we need it, or is that not an option?
We've not had that discussion, and so it's certainly something when finance and I go meet with Grant Dye, we can have that discussion.
Yeah, so that's
But
probably-
the sad part, to really answer your question, is that's the operating note for 2008.
Yeah, we have that student funds. That everybody says, yeah, we got to spend it, we got to spend it. Is there any way that we can, as a class, vote to pay that towards the note and kind of help pay that off a little bit?
I don't know if that could be used for that kind of purpose.
But if it keeps the farm going,
Well, and actually with the note, like, so, we've got, like, the funds are there, we just need to shift some things around, like, for the custom work that's come in, we've got that money that's not part of that 129,000 you saw, and so we'll be able to pay off that 154,000, we just have to determine as a committee where we're gonna pull those funds from, and then, like you said, turn around and reborrow.
For this coming year.
Yeah, the big question is how much cash you want to take, because there's money in the departmental account that's come in. That note has already been paid back to the university, but it came out of our departmental statement. So our departmental statement went from about 130,000 in the hole to 303,000 in the hole. And when I have to go talk with Dr. Miller about